bit better, mashallah. Most of you will know what today's assembly is going to be about. Does anybody know? Go on.
Easter.
About Easter. Do Muslims celebrate Easter? What do Muslims believe about Easter? And mainly about Isa alayhi salam, who we also believe as a prophet. So there's a few important things, inshallah, which we'll quickly go through in the time we have. And at the end of it, I'll ask you a few questions to see what you remember from the quiz. So when I say the word Easter, what comes into your minds? Put your hands up, no shouting out, yeah? Go on, boy there.
Eggs.
Eggs, okay, very good.
Chocolate.
Chocolate, very good. Anybody from the girls? Girls seem very quiet. No? Girls don't think about Easter? Know nothing about Easter? Go on.
Chicks.
Okay.
Bunnies.
Sorry?
Bunnies.
Bunnies. Okay, very good. Bunnies. Actually, sorry, police. Okay. These are a few things, yeah, which come to mind when you think about Easter. Anything else? Come on, we'll have somebody from the back before I pick on somebody. The girl in the red, or is it pink jacket? Can't see very well. At the back. What do you think about when I say the word Easter? Anything. Even if it's something that's been said before. Spring, okay. Easter comes at springtime. Next. So we'll find out what is Easter all about. Some of you have said a few things. What springs to your mind when I say the word Easter? But what is Easter really all about? Okay. Why is Easter celebrated? Yeah, why do people celebrate Easter? Shh, there's some people talking. It is celebrated to remember the Christian belief in the death by the crucifixion of Prophet Jesus and his resurrection 3 days later. Okay, there's a lot for 3 lines. There's some big words in there, we're going to go through them because they're important. If you don't understand what the words mean, then you won't understand the purpose of the assembly. So the first thing, it is celebrated to remember the Christian belief. So first thing we need to understand is Christians celebrate Easter. Who celebrates Easter? Christians. Why do they celebrate Easter? Because they believe in the death of the Prophet Jesus. Who's the Prophet Jesus? Isa alayhi salam, very good. Yeah? They call him Jesus, we call him Isa alayhi salam. And what do they believe about Jesus? What happened at Easter time? He was crucified. That's a big word, isn't it? What does it mean? Go on.
He died on the cross.
Very good. Crucified is a big word, but basically it means he died, but he didn't die a normal death. He was put on the cross and he was left to die. And that's why Christians wear the cross. And on the churches, what do you see? The cross represents the crucifixion. And then he was resurrected 3 days later. What does resurrected mean? The girl at the back. He rose from the dead. Very good, mashallah. So far we've learned what Christians believe in a nutshell. It's not in detail. What Christians believe about Easter. That Isa alayhi salam was put on a cross and he was left to die, and then 3 days later he was risen again and he became alive. Next slide. So when is Easter celebrated? The date for Easter can fall between March the 25th and April 25th. If you notice, those of you that go to school, your holidays are normally around this time. It's not a fixed date. Obviously tomorrow they celebrate Good Friday, which is what's the date tomorrow? 3rd of April. Yeah? And then they'll have Palm Sunday, which will be, what date? Sunday. Palm Sunday, normally on a Sunday, is on the 5th of April. But it can change. They don't have a fixed date unlike Christmas. Next slide. So like I said, yeah, Easter moves around the year, but it's normally between these days, between March and April. Easter always falls on the first Sunday following the full moon after the 21st of March. We don't really need to know that. And we don't need to know that. Carry on. Okay. So who is Isa alayhi salam? Now what's important to know is what we believe about Isa alayhi salam. I've told you a little bit about what Christians believe about Isa alayhi salam. So Jesus and Isa alayhi salam, same person. Yeah? Do you agree?
Yeah.
Same person or different person? It's the same person. In Islam, he's known as Isa alayhi salam. He's also a prophet. A bit more about him. His mother's name was Maryam radiallahu anha. What was his mother's name? Maryam. What do Christians call Maryam? Mary. Very good. Yeah? So they call her Mary. Maryam, same person though. And then an important part, and that's why it's in red, he was born without a father. Does everybody know this?
Yeah.
Yeah? Are you sure?
Yeah.
Okay. He was a prophet of Allah, so we also believe that Isa alayhi salam was a prophet of Allah. He's a prophet in Islam. So Christians also believe he was a prophet, and we also believe he was a
Prophet.
Next line is also very important. Isa alayhi salam was not the son of. So who is the son of Allah? Are you sure? Very good, mashallah. Bit of a trick question, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have any children. Does he have any partners? Very good as well. Does he have any family?
No.
Does he have a wife?
No.
Yeah. He doesn't. Think before you speak, please. Don't just say yes, no. I know it's a 50-50 question. You can easily say yes or no. In things like this, you should be very careful, because this is the big difference between Christianity and Islam. These things that are mentioned here, that they believe Isa alayhi salam was born with a father. Who do they believe was the father? G. Joseph, very good, yeah? At Christmas time, you'll go through the nativity play and you learn that Christians believe that Joseph was the father of Isa alayhi salam, father of Jesus. And the second big difference is that they believe that he was the son of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Muslims, what do we believe? He's not the son of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have a son. Okay. When his people turned against him and did not accept his message, Allah lifted him to the heavens. Okay, now it's maybe time for the story, which will quickly narrate to you, because to understand the last bit, you need to understand what actually happened to Isa alayhi salam. So far you've understood a little bit about Isa alayhi salam, that he wasn't crucified. We don't believe he was resurrected. We don't believe he was the son of God. He was born without a father. Who was the father of Isa alayhi salam? Again? Joseph. Who said Joseph? Okay. Who was the father? No one. Okay, the girls are very quiet. Can you hear me at the back? It's either you can't hear me or you don't understand me. Which one? Both? You can't hear me and you can't understand me. Okay. It's just, I know if you're responding, then I know you've understood. Has everyone understood the back so far?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay, the girl on my left. Who was the father of Isa alayhi salam?
No one.
Nobody. Okay. The girl at the front here with the pink jacket. Who was the mother of Isa alayhi salam? Maryam. And what do Christians call her? Okay. So basically the story of Isa alayhi salam, the big difference between Islam and Christianity is, it's quite a long story, but in the time we have, inshallah, I'll narrate to you a short portion of it. Was Isa alayhi salam was a prophet from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Which book was Isa alayhi salam given? Hands up please. G.
The Bible.
The Bible. What do we call the Bible? Injil. What are the 4 famous books? Anybody know? Go on.
Torah, Zabur, Injil, and Quran.
Very good, mashallah. Torah, Zabur, Injil and Quran. Who was given the Torah? Which prophet of Allah? Hazrat Musa alayhi salam. Who was given Zabur? You. Hazrat Dawud alayhi salam. Very good. And Injil was given to Isa alayhi salam. And if anybody doesn't know the last one, I'll be very upset. The Quran was given to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Very good, mashallah. So you know that. So Isa alayhi salam was given the Injil, and he started preaching what all the prophets used to preach. What did the prophets used to preach? What was the one message every prophet preached? Islam. And what is Islam? The most important thing about Islam? Very good, say that again. Allah is our Lord. More importantly, Allah is one. Every prophet preached Allah is one. So Isa alayhi salam preached the same thing. Who knows who was the prophet before Isa alayhi salam? When did Isa alayhi salam come? He came in between two prophets. Anybody? Okay, you might not know that. G, go on, take a guess.
Was the prophet after was Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
Very good. So he came before the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he came after. After which prophet? Anybody else? G. Very good, mashallah. Prophet Musa alayhi salam. Musa alayhi salam was the last prophet sent to Banu Israel, and after that Isa alayhi salam came. And like I said, all the prophets had the same message. The first and most important message was that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one. Yeah? And obviously to believe them as the messenger, and then the book, etc., etc. So Isa alayhi salam came and he used to preach the same things. Obviously the people didn't like the message that he was preaching. In every time the prophets had opposition, they had enemies. Even in the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Quraysh, many of them believed in, what did the Quraysh at the time of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam believe in? Go on.
Idols.
Very good, mashallah. Idols. What's an idol? Not what most of you sit like most of the time, idols. What's an actual idol? G.
It's a statue that people believe in.
Very good, mashallah. It's a statue that people believe in and worship. Even till today, if you go in parts of India, you will see many people who follow Hinduism, they worship idols. So in the time of the Prophet ﷺ, people worshipped idols, yeah? So more than one God. So in the time of Isa alayhi salam, many people didn't believe in one God. So he started to preach and people didn't like the message. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gave him certain miracles as well. Does anybody know the miracles of Isa alayhi salam? G.
He calmed the storm.
Calm the storm. No.
He cured the blind.
Very good. He could cure the blind was one.
He could walk on water.
He could walk on water, which he might have done. Yeah, there is a story of Isa alayhi salam walking on water. And yeah, I'll give you that one.
If he had a clay bird, he could make it grow to life.
Very good, mashallah. He could blow into a bird and give it life. Girls at the back, come on. One more, a common one. Isa alayhi salam, he had a miracle. He said, cure the blind. And he could also cure... Somebody said it? No, not the dead. Because that's been said. G. Sorry? Illness, what sort of illness? Yeah, leprosy, very good, mashallah. He could cure the lepers, yeah? So these were Isa alayhi salam's miracles. Now why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give the prophets miracles? He's a prophet, he's from Allah.
It's to show people that Allah gives you everything.
Very good, mashallah. It's to show people that he's actually sent from Allah. Because there are many imposters even today, even in recent times, even after the Prophet ﷺ, there have been people who said, yeah, I'm the Prophet, or I'm the Messiah, or I'm Imam Mahdi. What proof do you have? So in the same way, the prophets, many of them, obviously, they were all from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but most of them, they weren't made like, by the people, they weren't believed to be prophets. So many of them were called liars, soothsayers, magicians, etc. And they said, it's just magic what you can do. So what Isa alayhi salam, he was the same thing. He was told that what you're curing, a magician can do that. So I'm just explaining to you why prophets were sent so you'll understand better the story. Now, Isa alayhi salam, when he had opposition, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala decided to lift him to the heavens. Because the king at that time, the Roman king, he was planning to kill Isa alayhi salam, because when people with power, they don't like what you say, they just get rid of you. So what happened with Isa alayhi salam, after preaching for many, many years, the people tried to kill him. Now in very brief, basically some soldiers were sent to the house of Isa alayhi salam, and they were told to take him, and he was meant to be crucified. He was meant to be crucified. But what actually happened, and the story according to Islam is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lifted Isa alayhi salam to the heavens. Listen to this carefully. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lifted him to the heavens. Which you might say to me, how did he do it? How did he do it? You tell me how he did it. Come on, these two boys have answered, mashallah. G. Go on, the boy in the blue who had his hand up. Say it, whatever comes to your mind, say it.
They went into the house,
Mm-hmm.
and then Allah turned one of the God's faces into to look like the Prophet Isa's face.
Very good, mashallah, yeah?
And then Angel Jibreel came and then took Hazrat Isa out to heaven.
Okay. Very good, mashallah. You told me part of the story, but I want to know, how did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lift Isa alayhi salam to the heavens? G. With his power. Very good, mashallah. It's a word I was looking for what I said earlier, what all the prophets had. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give them? Miracle. It was a miracle. To make you understand, because sometimes children ask, so how did he raise him? Did he come in a car? Did he come in a camel? Did he come in a flying horse? No. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did it through his power, like you said, but it was a miracle. What you've got to understand is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do this. Yeah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, another miracle was he created Isa alayhi salam without a father. Yeah? Every single one of us sitting here has a mother and a father. It's a different case if your mother or father has passed away, but everybody is born with a mother and a father. Is that right? Yeah? Anybody think something else? Okay, that's good. So Isa alayhi salam was lifted by a miracle from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through his power, like you said, to the heavens. So what happens next? Who was crucified on the cross and who did the soldiers come to take? So now one of the soldiers, when he came to the house of Isa alayhi salam, he walked in the house, just one soldier, it's probably a house this big. He's walked in the house, the remaining soldiers are outside. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changed his face. Yeah? How did Allah change his face? Photoshop? How did he change his face? Miracle. Very good. So you've understood the aspect of miracle now. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala changed his face through a miracle. Yeah? Nobody came down, no angel came, nobody painted his face. He changed it through a miracle. It's very important we understand this, especially at your age. Many children, they don't understand, especially with the phenomena of Harry Potter and things and magicians, that, oh, it's all to do with magic, or somebody came down. No, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala can do this. So we all understand that the face was changed of this soldier. Whose face was it changed to? It was changed to Isa alayhi salam's face. So what do you think happens next? G.
The God speak that the soldier that's
very good, mashallah. So now what happens is he's spending a lot of time in the house looking for Isa alayhi salam, up and down, he can't find him. The soldiers outside are wondering what's happened to him. So they come inside the house and they think they've got their man. Who do they think they've got? They think they've got Isa alayhi salam. Right? In actual fact, who was it? The Roman soldier. Has everybody understood the story so far?
Yeah.
The girls at the back again. I can't hear you. Have you understood the story?
Yeah.
Okay? Right then, let's click on somebody. The girl there. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do with Isa alayhi salam? He changed his face to Isa alayhi salam. Isa's face was changed to Isa alayhi salam. He's already Isa alayhi salam. What did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala do to Isa alayhi salam, the actual Isa alayhi salam? Anybody help her? G, girl at the back. He lifted him to the heavens. What did he do? He lifted him to the heavens. Have you understood? So Isa alayhi salam never died, he never got killed, he never got crucified. He was raised to the heavens. That's one important part. And what happened to the Roman soldier? G.
His face got changed.
To whose face? Hazrat Isa alayhi salam. So his face was changed. Now what happens next is the soldiers come in, they take hold of him, and obviously he's shouting and screaming for his life, saying, it's not me, it's not me, it's not me. And they take him to the king, and what happens to him? He was crucified on the cross. So somebody was actually crucified. That part of the story is true, the whole crucifixion and the cross, but it wasn't Isa alayhi salam. It wasn't Isa alayhi salam. Have you all understood that good and well? The Roman soldier gets crucified on the cross, and Christians, since then, hundreds and thousands of years later, at Easter time, this is what they celebrate. Now they also believe that that was Isa alayhi salam crucified on the cross, and then they also believe that he came back. The bit about resurrection on the previous slide. Yeah, that he came back. So that's two things what we don't agree with. We don't believe he came back because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lifted him to the heavens, and nor was he crucified on the cross. So that's two important things to understand at the time of Easter. And it might be quite hard for some of you because I'm sure in school you've been told time and time again, every year, the whole story, the Christian side of the story of Isa alayhi salam and how he was crucified. So it's very important that you understand these two parts of the story, that Isa alayhi salam was lifted to the heavens and he wasn't crucified on the cross. Does anybody have any questions so far? Anybody? G. Don't tell me you want to go to the toilet. Question about Easter.
People thought Isa alayhi salam was pretending.
He was pretending? People thought that. Okay, he wasn't pretending. We know what happened to Isa alayhi salam, yeah? And we know the difference between our story and the Christian story. So it's important you remember this, because these are certain things that if a person says Jesus was crucified, yeah? If a person says Jesus was crucified, it could mean he's no longer a Muslim. So it's quite serious. Even though I've told you the whole story and it's just a few slides you're watching, but it's quite serious that Muslim children, they understand this. Because the country we live in, which country do we live in? England, and he's answered the second part of the question, a Christian country. Yeah, it's a Christian country. And in our schools, this is what you get taught. Now many times I've done the same slide and the same assembly in madrasas where they've actually said, yeah, Jesus was the Son of God. Or Jesus was crucified. Where do you think they got this from? School. Yeah, they got taught this in school, but they've not been taught otherwise. They've not been taught the Muslim side of the story, which is our fault. It's not your fault. Which is our fault for not teaching you. But now that you know this story, it's important this story stays in your head. Because like I said, it's a very, very important thing. Don't want to scare you, but if a person says one of these things, that Jesus is the Son of God, or Jesus was crucified on the cross, then he might no longer be Muslim anymore. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay. The next slide, please. Easter is an important festival for Christians. It is the celebration of the death and coming to life again of Jesus. Muslims do not believe he was crucified. The Quran clearly says he was lifted to the heavens. Like I said, I'm not saying this. Yeah, how do I know that Isa alayhi salam was lifted to the heaven? Because the Quran says it. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran that he was raised to the heavens. وَمَا قَتَلُوهُ وَمَا صَلَبُوهُ وَلَكِنْ شُبِّهَ لَهُمْ. So that's why it's very, very important. And if you don't believe in this, then you're not agreeing with what the Quran says. Do you understand? And we believe in everything the Quran says. So even if your teacher tells you and tells you and tells you, because sometimes I've been to an assembly and one madrasa, actually the kids, I think it was last year or the year before, it was in Blackburn, and the kids actually said to me, but the teacher said he was crucified. So I said, your teacher is probably a Christian, that's why. And they said, no, she's a Muslim. What did they say? They said, no, she's a Muslim. Now it's very hard for me to make these kids understand that maybe she's teaching RE or whatever she's teaching you, but she's given the Christian side of the story. So it's very important, inshallah we'll run through the main important points towards the end as well. But so far you've understood that much about Isa alayhi salam. Now, the reason why Christians celebrate it is because one is the death of Isa alayhi salam according to them, and then he came to life again. This bit about coming into life is where all you lot come in, which might be in the next slide or the one after. Okay, so one after. Okay, sorry, go back. Okay, this is a few things Christians believe. You don't need to remember these things, it's just so you know. Christians believe in Maundy Thursday, which is today, where Isa alayhi salam had the so-called Last Supper with his disciples. Then tomorrow, which is known as Good Friday, this is the day Christians believe he was crucified. So tomorrow they actually believe that was the day, the Friday, that he was crucified. Then comes the Palm Sunday, also known as Easter Sunday. This is the day Christians believe Isa alayhi salam came back to life 3 days after. Right, so this is a few things they believe. But we don't believe in any of these things. Or do we? No. Do we? No. Are you sure we don't believe he was crucified? Yes, yes, yes. Somebody's not awake, obviously. Carry on. Yeah, this is the bit where you guys come in. Which, inshallah, I'm hoping what we've done already, That's in your heads now, and hopefully you'll remember that. But what happens is, we don't believe Isa alayhi salam was crucified, we don't believe he's the Son of God, we don't believe he was resurrected again, but what we do, and we do a lot of, is eat Easter eggs. Yeah? Normally I ask, but today I'm not going to ask, is who's had an Easter egg. Basically, what's wrong with an Easter egg? It's only a bit of chocolate, isn't it? Which we eat all year round. Yeah? Is that right? Yeah. It is, I agree with you. What's wrong with an Easter egg? It's only chocolate which we eat all year round. So what's wrong with having it at Easter?
It's the intention.
Very good, mashallah. It's the intention. Yeah? It's, according to Christians, let's just read through this. Giving presents such as Easter eggs, these eggs are supposed to represent new life. Having a big meal feast on Easter Sunday, I don't think anybody does that. I'm going to the church, nobody does that. Okay, the first one is what most Muslim children do. And it's because most of you think it's only a bit of chocolate, and I like it. Whatever you want to have, whether it's a cream egg Easter egg, whether it's Maltesers or whatever. But like he said, it's the intention. You can eat it all year round. You can eat it all year round. There's nothing wrong with having chocolate. Yeah, as long as it's halal, it's good. طيب. But the problem with having Easter eggs is the eggs represent life. Yeah? The eggs represent life. Whose life do you think they represent? Not my life. Gee, the girl there. Sorry? Christian's life. No. Jesus' life. Because how would it represent Jesus' life? Why would an Easter egg represent Jesus' life? Gee.
Because he rose from the dead.
He rose from the dead. Very good. So now you've understood why we can't eat Easter eggs. It's because Christians believe that after Jesus was crucified, he was resurrected. He was given life again. And to celebrate their whole life again, they have Easter eggs. Because the egg celebrates life. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So are we allowed to eat Easter eggs?
No.
Who's got an Easter egg at home? One boy, which I don't believe. I believe you, I don't believe these lot. Only one boy has got Easter egg.
I don't have one.
You don't? Nobody's got an Easter egg, yeah? That's surprising. Okay, a few more putting their hand up. Okay, put your hands up. So what we need to remember is we don't buy any more Easter eggs. If you've got the egg, that's fine, good and well, eat it. But you don't buy Easter eggs anymore. Or next year you don't buy Easter eggs. You tell your mom and dad, we don't want an Easter egg. Do you understand? Are you going to have an Easter egg?
No.
What are you going to have? Okay, he's thinking about it. Next slide, please. Okay, sorry, the last bit. I don't think anybody does this, but if you do, having a big meal feast on Easter Sunday. But this one, I don't expect anybody to go to church tomorrow on Sunday, but I do know you go in your schools to the church. Is that right? Who's been to the church? Okay, most of you. Okay, we'll leave the church. Go on to the next slide. Respecting all religions. Okay, so I've told you everything you need to know so far. In the last 5 minutes, what we're going to do is focus on something which is important, because I've told you certain things that, for example, what Muslims believe, what Christians believe. But what we also believe in Islam is what it says there. What does it say in blue? Read it out.
Respecting all religions.
Very good, mashallah. You said it, so we need to do it. We must respect all religions and beliefs. So it doesn't mean if your teacher at school is a Christian or a Hindu, or your classmate is of another religion, that you say to them, oh, you know what? You guys believe in Jesus got crucified and you're all going to burn in hell. It might sound funny, but it happens. Yeah, because Muslims get taught this in Madrasah. Now obviously you're young, so you just end up saying it. That, you know what, we Muslims believe that all Christians are going to go to hell. Why? Because you believe Jesus got crucified. There's no need to say that. There's no need to say that. Why you don't need to say it? Because we still respect them. Yeah? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't say anywhere in the Quran that if somebody is not a Muslim, then you need to go up to him and shout at your teacher, Mrs. Smith or Mrs. Brown, you know what? I'm a Muslim and I believe you're going to hell. Nobody should be saying that. Yeah? We can all laugh now, but trust me, it happens. So you don't say this, we respect them as Christians. Yeah? We make dua for them. If they're your teachers, inshallah, Allah guide them to Islam. Why should Allah guide them to Islam? Ji?
Because they don't believe in Islam.
And they don't believe in Islam, so why should they believe in Islam?
Because it's a good religion.
Because it's a good religion. Just a good religion? Ji?
Because it's the path that you should follow.
MashaAllah, very good, a very good answer there. It's the path you should follow because we believe it's the true religion. Yeah? Good is a good word, but true religion is better. Islam is the true religion. Yeah, we believe it's the only true religion. And that's why you should make dua for your teacher, or if you've got friends at school, nobody's saying go to them and say that this is what we believe and this is you have to believe, and if you don't believe this, X, Y, Z will happen. You keep that in your heart, inshallah, but we have to respect other religions. So you respect your teacher. You can't say, oh, Mrs. Brown's not a Muslim, so I'm going to swear at her. Nowhere in the Quran does it say that. Your mum and dad haven't taught you that, your teachers haven't taught you that, nobody's taught you that. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
It's very, very important because you've learned a lot of things today. For some of you, I don't know, it might be the first time you've heard these things. So I don't want you to go into school after Easter holidays and say, oh miss, we learned this in the mosque. And if you don't believe it, this is what will happen. Secondly, Islam is a tolerant religion. Big word there. Who knows what tolerant means? You've answered too many questions. You've answered too many questions. It's time to pick on somebody at the back. G, the girl here at the front. Go on, what does tolerant mean? You don't know? Okay. Go on then. Patient, okay. Halfway there. Tolerant basically means is you put up with something. Yeah? To make you understand, if for example, you'll have heard your teachers use this, maybe in the madrasa or in the school, that, oh Muhammad, I will not tolerate your behavior anymore. I will not tolerate. So the opposite of that, meaning he or she is not going to put up with it anymore. Yeah? I've had enough of your nuisance behavior, I've had enough of your rude attitude, and I'm not going to tolerate your behavior anymore. Means she's not going to put up with it anymore. So if Islam is a tolerant religion, meaning we put up with it. What do we put up with though? Or what should we be patient about, like you said? G. Go on. Seeing as you're the only one answering, go on.
Because like we live around Christians every day.
Very good, mashallah. What's your name? Akil, mashallah, very good answer. It's basically you see Christians all the time, like I told you. You might not see them in the street because Blackburn's kind of become majority Muslim nowadays. But in your schools or wherever you see Christians or non-Muslims, you have to become tolerant. You have to tolerate the fact that they're not Muslims and we believe what we believe, but we respect your belief. We respect your belief. So like I said to you, and I'll keep on saying it, but I'm going to keep on saying it, is you can't say to them that, oh, if you don't believe this about Isa alayhi salam, you'll go to X, Y, Z in the hereafter. You understand? We Muslims believe that, but we don't need to go around telling everyone. And many non-Muslims have lived peacefully under Islamic rule. We don't need to know that. Laughing or joking at someone's belief is not part of Islam. Yeah, that's another important thing, is that, okay, you might not say to your teacher that, oh, this is what we believe. But then what happens sometimes, Muslim kids, especially those who have a bit more nuisance inside them, they tend to say things to non-Muslims, or, you know what, you believe this about Isa alayhi salam, that he was crucified, and that's so stupid. Or, that's dumb. Or any other word. Yeah, to say such a word like that to Christians, again, you don't need to say that to them. It's the same with any religion. If you see a Hindu, for example, we talked about idol worshipping, yeah? So if you see a Hindu and they're worshipping idols and you'll say, oh, you know what, that's stupid, how can you worship an idol? He doesn't even talk, he doesn't even listen. You don't need to say that. You don't need to say that. G. You finishing? Okay. Lastly, we should, so what should we do? We should try always not to imitate the festivals of others, no matter how nice it looks. Again, I've explained to you, so you don't need to copy them in anything. Main, I think, is the Easter egg. There was a thing about going to church, you should try to avoid that. I think that's more for your parents. If we imitate and copy, this could lead us to lose our Islam and Islamic identity. Like I mentioned before, there's certain things which you can say. Yeah, you might say Jesus the Son of God, or Joseph was the father of Isa alayhi salam, or Jesus was crucified. Such statements can take you out of Islam. In the same way, just copying them. So actually believing Easter eggs, like it's farz, you've got to have an Easter egg at Easter time. or to go to the church, and even though it's not part of your school syllabus, then these sort of things we should avoid. We sometimes do not realize the consequences of what may seem as fun or just imitating. That's fine. Okay, very quickly in a minute, what you've learned from the beginning. Actually, you tell me what you've learned. Put your hands up and tell me something you've learned today. That might be quicker. G. Go on.
That Jesus was not crucified and he was risen from the dead.
Okay, very good, mashallah. Jesus wasn't crucified and he wasn't raised from the dead. The girl there.
We learned about Isa.
Okay, what did you learn about him? Easter. What did you learn about Easter?
That Christians only believe Easter eggs.
Christians believe in Easter eggs. Okay, I'll take that. G, the one in green.
Prophet Isa alayhi salam wasn't born with a father.
Very good, mashallah. Isa alayhi salam wasn't born with a father. Very important point. Girl at the back.
When the soldier went to the house of Isa alayhi salam, Allah Ta'ala lifted his legs.
Lifted who up?
Isa alayhi salam.
Okay. So the soldier went to the house of Isa alayhi salam. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala lifted Isa alayhi salam up. And what did he do to the soldier?
Made his face look like Isa.
Very good, mashallah. He changed his face. G.
Easter is a waste of time for Muslims.
Easter is a waste of time for Muslims. I like it. G. Boy, the glasses.
Not have Easter eggs.
You're not allowed to have Easter eggs. Very good. Go on.
Isa alayhi salam's mom.
Yeah? What's her name?
Maryam.
Maryam. Very good. Maryam radiallahu anha, Isa alayhi salam's mother's name. Go on.
We don't believe in the resurrection of Jesus.
We don't believe in the resurrection of Jesus. What is resurrection? It's a big word. I don't understand it.
When he rose from the dead.
Okay. So that's, I think, everything. There was one point which you've not mentioned, that we don't believe Jesus is the Son of God. And inshallah, you've learned something today. Jazakallah khairan for your time and mashallah being a good audience and listening carefully.